and see what Spirit wants to reveal today. As always, keep what resonates with your heart and release anything that isn't meant for you. All right, Libra, let's get into your reading. Before I touched a single card, raw emotion pressed against my hands and refused to let go. I sensed a lesson buried deep in this spread, and it carries decades of emotional weight. This person walked into your life once, loved you completely, and then lost you without recovery. That loss became the most defining event they carry, and nothing since has come close to matching. The universe pulled me into their grief today, and what I found inside left me genuinely shaken. Meeting you rewired something permanent inside them, and your absence cracked a wound that refuses to close. They learned what love actually tastes like through you, and now every substitute feels painfully hollow. This message does not land softly. It crashes through with desperate urgency that demands your full attention. The cards tell a story of a person stripped bare, and losing you became the blade cut deepest. You are the lesson they never wanted, and you became the answer they cannot live without anymore. Our first card is the Ace of Cups, and this confirms a complete emotional awakening you triggered. The Ace of Cups marks the moment their heart cracked open, and that opening has never sealed shut. Before you existed in their orbit, they moved through love on autopilot without real emotional risk. You showed them what vulnerability demands, and that revelation permanently altered how they experience every bond after. The Ace of Cups confirms a love that overflowed, past every boundary they constructed around their chest. Nothing about your impact arrived gradually. It struck them like a flood the instant you entered their world. Now we have the Emperor, and this reveals the rigid exterior they built to survive without you. The Emperor says they replaced warmth with discipline, desperate to feel stable after you disappeared from their life. Routine fills the space where your laughter used to echo, and structure replaced what your softness once held. They wear authority like armor every single day, but underneath that metal lives a person crumbling from isolation. The Emperor confirms their composure is a mask, and maintaining it drains them past the point of exhaustion. We also have the Page of Wands, and this brings a reckless spark of hope still burning inside. The Page of Wands says a part of them refuses the ending, and it keeps imagining your return. That spark flickers late at night when memories arrive, and they catch themselves reaching for their phone again. They draft messages never sent, delete threads they want to restart, and pace through rooms you once filled. Our final card is the Queen of Swords, and this carries painful clarity about what they sacrificed. The Queen of Swords confirms they see exactly what collapsed, and that awareness tortures them without mercy. Hindsight gave them answers they were too proud to chase, and every answer pointed directly back at you. They understand with brutal honesty what they held, and that comprehension makes the loss ache even heavier. This card is merciless in its truth because it shows a person who cannot unlearn what you taught. Meeting you was the earthquake, loving you was the rebuilding, and losing you was the permanent collapse. That lesson lives in their blood, and no amount of distance will dilute what you planted inside them. They measure every person against you, and every single comparison collapses before it even begins to form. Your name still triggers a physical response in their body, and that involuntary reaction confirms what words cannot. They built monuments to your memory without realizing, and every corner of their daily life still echoes you. A window of energy surrounds this message, and the urgency behind it chose you deliberately for a reason. Whatever sits in your chest at this moment is real, and it mirrors exactly what they carry inside. The cards confirmed a story of irreversible impact today, and every card pointed to you as the cause. Hold on to that feeling, because what approaches you next will make every doubt you carried disappear entirely. Okay, I need to turn the focus toward you because the cards pulled me straight into your heart. A slower vibration settled over this section, and it holds the kind of tiredness that goes bone deep. You carried this weight longer than most would survive, and your spirit shows the marks of that endurance. Our first card for your energy is the Four of Swords, and this confirms exhaustion sitting inside you. The Four of Swords says you retreated inward after this experience, and that withdrawal kept you alive. You shut certain chambers of your heart down entirely, and that numbness became your armor against further damage. Sleep does not restore you the way it once did, and waking sometimes feels like returning to war. There are mornings where their name arrives before anything else, and that sets the emotional tone for everything. You trained yourself to stop hoping, but hope keeps finding cracks in your walls and slipping through anyway. The Four of Swords confirms you earned this exhaustion through years of invisible labor that nobody else witnessed. Your silence was never apathy. It was a controlled burn designed to prevent the entire forest from collapsing. Now we have the Empress, and this reflects the nurturing heart you buried after they walked away. The Empress confirms your capacity to love never died. It went underground and waited patiently for safety. You possess a tenderness that scares you now, because offering it once cost nearly everything you had inside. People around you see composure and strength, but the Empress reveals the softness you guard like a wound. You constructed a functioning version of yourself without them, but that version never truly felt like your home. The Empress also says you miss being needed that way, and no replacement has ever fit that shape. We also have the Seven of Pentacles, and this confirms a long season of emotional investment and patience. The Seven of Pentacles says you planted seeds for years, and the harvest feels painfully overdue by now. You healed in silence, grew through grief without applause, and rebuilt from ashes that nobody else could see. That investment was never wasted, and the Seven of Pentacles confirms your harvest approaches faster than you suspect. Our final card is the Knight of Wands, and this brings a restless fire stirring beneath your surface. The Knight of Wands confirms something inside you is waking, and that reawakening cannot be held back now. A part of you is exhausted from caution, and that reckless courage is beginning to override the fear. You daydream about what might happen if you reached out, and those visions arrive more frequently each week. The Knight of Wands says your story is unfinished, and your spirit recognizes that before logic does. The quiet strength you carry is not invisible, and the cards honored every silent battle you fought alone. Healing happened in you without celebration, and that private transformation made you far stronger than you realize today. A restlessness stirs in your chest lately, and it signals that your long season of waiting is ending. You deserve a love that meets your depth, and the cards confirm that love is already assigned. There are nights when you almost reached out, and stopping yourself took more strength than anyone will know. The version of love you deserve is close now, and the cards confirmed its approach with full certainty. You survived what most hearts would not endure, and that resilience proves the depth of what you carry. Patience wore you thin but never broke you, and that endurance is about to be rewarded by fate. Your emotional intelligence kept you from breaking entirely, and now it prepares you to receive something extraordinary. The cards honored your endurance today, and every one confirmed that your silent suffering was never pointless. Your emotional intelligence kept you from shattering entirely, and now it prepares you to receive something extraordinary here. The cards recognized your endurance today, and every single one confirmed your suffering was never pointless or wasted. You held yourself together when collapse seemed easier, and that decision alone shifted the entire trajectory of everything. Now, a heavier presence moved into this spread, and I feel this person stepping forward with full weight. Their side of this carries scars you never witnessed, and the cards are about to expose everyone. Our first card for their energy is the Five of Wands, and this confirms vicious internal conflict. The Five of Wands says a war rages inside them daily, and every version of themselves fights another. One part demands they guard their pride, another part screams to chase you, and a third freezes them. They cannot sit peacefully with any decision since you left, because every choice felt fundamentally wrong after. The Five of Wands reveals self-sabotage became their default, and they recognize it without stopping. Arguments they had with you replay constantly, and they rewrite those endings inside their mind every single night. They know which words caused the most damage, and those exact phrases haunt their quietest moments without mercy. Now we have the Hermit, and this confirms a painful withdrawal from the life they used to know. The Hermit says they pulled away from everyone after you, and isolation became their closest remaining companion. Alone in their silence, they finally heard the truth they spent years drowning out with noise and distraction. The Hermit reveals solitude taught them your value, because your absence left a void nothing else could fill. They sat with emptiness long enough to realize you were never the problem that needed solving at all. The mirror they avoided for years showed them clearly, and what stared back was a person choosing fear. They chose safe distance over genuine depth, and that decision became their single greatest regret in adult life. We also have the Three of Swords, and this confirms heartbreak that reshaped them from the inside permanently. The Three of Swords says losing you drove a blade through the center of everything they believed solid. This was not ordinary grief. It was the kind of devastation that rebuilds a person into a stranger. You are not crazy for sensing their pain across distance, because the Three of Swords confirms that chord. They grieve you in private rooms nobody else enters, and that mourning became almost sacred in its consistency. Our final card is the Ten of Wands, and this confirms they carry this burden everywhere they go. The Ten of Wands says regret sits on their shoulders constantly, and they refuse to set weight down. They punish themselves by holding every mistake close, and that self-imposed sentence has no end date attached. Exhaustion covers their face when nobody watches, and the performance of pretending they moved on drains them completely. They tried replacing you with routines and new people, and every attempt collapsed under the weight of comparison. No conversation reaches the depth yours did, and that constant contrast reminds them of loss with every exchange. They keep your memory locked in a chamber, and nobody else is allowed to enter or even ask. They would trade every comfort built since you left for one honest conversation about what went wrong. Their friends noticed the shift, but chose silence, because your name produced a reaction too visible to miss. Sleep brings you back in fragments, and waking to your absence strikes harder with every passing morning. Vulnerability feels foreign to them now, but your absence forced them to begin learning its painful language. The lesson losing you taught cannot be reversed, and that permanent education now defines who they are completely. They rehearse apologies in their mind every night, and the list of what to say grows longer daily. The shame of losing you outweighs every other regret, and that ranking tells you everything about their pain. They aged visibly after you left, and the people around them noticed, but never dared to ask why. Loneliness became their strictest teacher, and the curriculum centered on what they failed to honor when you stayed. Every card confirmed a person drowning in aftermath, reaching toward you as the only shore that ever held. All right, the pace of this reading shifted hard, and I feel momentum rushing forward through every remaining card. Something concrete builds on their end as we speak, and the weight behind it signals genuine change approaching. Our first card is the Eight of Wands, and this confirms rapid movement heading toward you without hesitation. The Eight of Wands says events will unfold quickly, and the speed will catch you off guard entirely. Messages are forming, decisions are solidifying, and the distance between you shrinks faster than either of you expected. This card carries no delays in its path, and clean trajectory means nothing can slow this momentum down. Communication will arrive swiftly from their direction, and it carries emotional content you were not prepared to receive. They compose words inside their mind right now, and those sentences carry years of unspoken devotion behind them. What approaches does not tiptoe or hesitate. It moves with the force of a person done hiding truth. Now we have the Wheel of Fortune, and this confirms fate is actively intervening in your situation today. The Wheel of Fortune says the cycle that separated you is completing, and reunion energy rotates forward now. Circumstances that felt permanent are shifting now, creating openings neither of you could have manufactured alone. The wheel confirms destiny has a stake in this, and resisting what the universe arranged would prove futile. Expect unexpected encounters, sudden schedule shifts, or mutual connections resurfacing to create clear pathways back toward each other. The timing of this shift was engineered by forces larger than anything either of you can control individually. A sealed door is about to crack open between you, and light is already visible through the gap. Our final card is the Six of Wands, and this confirms a triumphant return that carries earned confidence. The Six of Wands says they return carrying growth, and that earned confidence makes this reunion different. They are not the same person who left, and the version approaching was built through genuine suffering first. The Six of Wands confirms people around you will witness this shift, and their support will follow naturally. Their return will not be hidden. It arrives with a boldness that makes their intention unmistakable to you. You will feel it in your body before your thoughts catch up, and that physical knowing confirms everything. Rapid action paired with fate and triumph is rare, and the convergence of these cards confirms it now. Before their move lands, you may notice synchronicities increasing, repeated numbers, and unexpected reminders of shared memories. Those signs confirm the energetic bridge is activating, and that reactivation happens at full strength this time around. Action is not pending or theoretical. It is already in motion, heading directly toward your current position now. A deadline exists around their decision, and the pressure of that narrowing window pushes them toward bold action. The universe removed every excuse they relied on, and now only raw courage stands between them and you. What they prepared to say carries years behind it, and every word was crafted with you in mind. The cards confirm their timing will feel almost divine, arriving at the moment your heart needs it most. Every delay served a purpose, and that purpose was ensuring both of you arrived ready for truth. Their approach carries the full education of loss, and that earned wisdom makes them formidable this time around. When they reach you, every word will reflect maturity that only genuine devastation could have produced. Prepare yourself not for the person who left, but for the version that losing you sculpted into being. Their approach carries the full education of loss behind it, and earned wisdom makes them formidable this time. When they reach you, every word will reflect a maturity that only genuine devastation could have ever produced. Prepare yourself not for the person who left, but for the version that losing you sculpted into existence. A deadline surrounds this momentum, and the universe will not allow delay to steal what belongs to you. Now the cards dropped into a deeper register, and what surfaces are confessions they never dared to share. This layer peels back remaining mask, and what lives underneath is devotion so fierce it borders on consuming. Our first card is the High Priestess, and this confirms secrets buried so deep they frighten their keeper. The High Priestess says they know things about your bond that they filed away and refused to examine. Intuitive hits about you arrive at random moments, and they feel your moods across distance without explanation. They sensed when you were hurting even after separation, and that psychic cord disturbs them beyond all logic. The high priestess confirms they consult their inner knowing, and every answer points to the same single conclusion. They already know you belong together, and the only confession remaining is admitting that truth out loud, finally. Dreams about you arrive with alarming frequency, and those visions carry detail too vivid to dismiss as nothing. Your body might respond to this moment physically, a quickened pulse or sudden heat rising behind your eyes. That response is your energy confirming their unspoken truth across whatever distance sits between you both right now. They kept photographs they swore they deleted, and those images live in hidden folders visited only when lonely. Now we have the Nine of Cups, and this confirms their deepest wish centers entirely around having you. The Nine of Cups says you are greatest desire, and fulfilling it would complete them like nothing else. They wished for you on moments most people waste, and that longing never once faded across any distance. What they want is not casual reunion, it is permanent merging of two lives that belong together entirely. The Nine of Cups confirms no achievement replaces the whole, your absence carved into their daily existence here. They accomplished things since you left, yet every milestone felt hollow because you were not beside them, witnessing. Our final card is the King of Swords, and this reveals clarity that losing you forced on them. The King of Swords confirms they dissected every failure precisely, and that surgical analysis led to genuine transformation. They understand with intellectual honesty how their actions destroyed things, and that awareness changed them at the core. The confession they hold closest is terrifying. They believe growth arrived too late and you closed the door. That fear drives them harder than love does, because the idea of permanent loss is unbearable to system. They rehearse apologies would take hours to deliver, because the depth of regret cannot fit inside brief words. Give yourself permission to absorb how deeply they ache, because that longing is constant and it is genuine. Their silence was never absence of love. It was the sound of a person too ashamed to begin. The truth they cannot say is devastating in simplicity. They need you and they always will, without exception. Every composed moment they present to the outside world costs them, and maintaining front grows harder each morning. What lives inside them is not fading memory. It is a breathing devotion that strengthens through separation daily. The dreams they have carry specific details, and the accuracy of those visions disturbs them beyond all explanation. They wear something you gave them hidden from view, and that secret object is visited only when lonely. Late at night, their chest tightens at your name, and that physical ache became ritualistic in its return. The words they practice shift with every attempt, because no version captures what they actually mean inside. What they feel at 3 in the morning is raw, and those dark hours hold most honest truth. The confession inside them grows heavier each day, and the weight of it already reached a breaking point. They memorized details about you that you forgot sharing, and they hold those fragments like sacred possessions close. Late at night, their chest tightens when your name crosses their mind, and that ache became almost familiar. The words they practice saying to you shift constantly because no version captures what they actually mean inside. Okay, the reading settles into its closing breath, and everything the cards revealed comes together with full clarity. The near future holds a reunion, and the cards mapped it with striking precision across every section today. Our first card is the Sun, and this brings the brightest confirmation of approaching joy I have seen. The Sun confirms warmth is returning to this connection, and the cold that defined recent seasons is melting. Light breaks through the walls they constructed, and what grows in that warmth is a love survived death. The Sun says happiness is not a distant wish, it is an approaching reality backed by the spread. Now we have the Four of Wands, and this confirms celebration and homecoming energy entering your life soon. The Four of Wands says a sacred reunion forms, and it will feel like finally returning home. Stability and commitment anchor this card, and the foundation being laid now can hold a genuine shared future. Our final card is Judgment, and this confirms resurrection of what everyone assumed was permanently finished between you. Judgment says a higher call pulls you together, and ignoring it would go against the grain of destiny. This is not repetition of old cycles. It is a chapter written by two people who earned it. My guidance is simple. Remain steady without initiating, and let the gravity of this connection do its work. Do not rehearse what you will say, because the moment will carry its own language beyond any preparation. When they arrive with their truth, receive it without punishing them for the time and distance that passed. The message today was unmistakable. Meeting and loving and losing you has been their single greatest lesson. They discovered that surviving without you is possible, but genuinely living without you is something they refuse. The cards revealed today were Ace of Cups, the Emperor, Page of Wands, and Queen of Swords first. Then Four of Swords, the Empress, Seven of Pentacles, and Knight of Wands appeared for your own energy. Five of Wands, the Hermit, Three of Swords, and Ten of Wands exposed their battle and deep regret. Eight of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, and Six of Wands confirmed swift movement paired with destiny and triumph. The High Priestess, Nine of Cups, and King of Swords revealed hidden devotion and a wish never died. The Sun, Four of Wands, and Judgment closed this reading with reunion and the full promise of resurrection. Picture yourself standing at the doorway of a connection rebuilt by two people who understand what they lost. That doorway is real, and the footsteps approaching belong to a person who will not waste this again. You both walked through fire separately, and what emerges on the other side was forged through real pain. The universe does not repeat lessons without purpose, and bringing you together serves a design larger than either. Their arrival will not require convincing from you, because the internal work they completed speaks for itself loudly. Peace is the frequency this bond moves toward, and the cards confirmed that vibration is already audible now. The distance was never permanent. It was necessary space that allowed real transformation to happen inside both hearts. What replaces the pain will run deeper than before, because both of you earned this version through suffering. Every season of silence prepared the ground, and what grows from this reunion will outlast everything that preceded. Your faith carried you through the hardest chapter, and now that chapter closes to welcome what finally begins. This love survived its own ending, and that survival proves it was never meant to stay buried forever. The final card confirmed resurrection is not metaphor. It is the literal trajectory of this bond going forward. What you feel at this moment is real, and the love between you survived the test that matters. If this spoke to the deepest part of your spirit, come back and tell me when they return. Thank you for trusting the cards today, for sitting with truth, and for honoring what your heart carries. The near future holds a reunion, and the cards mapped it with striking precision across every section today. Our first card is the Sun, and this brings the brightest confirmation of approaching joy I have seen. The Sun confirms warmth is returning to this connection, and the cold that defined recent seasons is melting. Light breaks through the walls they constructed, and what grows in that warmth is a love survived death. The Sun says